Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with our subject computer science. Session number 4, data handling. In any language, there are some fundamentals you need to know before you can write even the most elementary programs. So in this session, we will introduce some of such fundamentals such as data types, variables, operators, and expressions in Python. Python provides a predefined set of data types for handling the data it uses. Data can be stored in any form of these data types. In this session, we are going to discuss about the various data types of data that can store in Python. Of course, a program needs a means to identify the stored data. So we will also talk about the variables in Python. Data types. Data can be many types. For example, character, integer, real number, string, etc. Anything closed in a quotes represent a string data in Python. Number without fraction represent integer data. The number with the fraction represent the real data, and true and false represent boolean data. Since the data to be dealt with are many types, a programming language must provide the way and the facilities to handle all types of data. Before you learn how you can process the different types of data in a Python, let's discuss the various types exposed in Python. In this session, we will discuss about the data types. You will be able to know the Python capabilities to handle a specific types of data, such as the memory space it allocates to hold a certain types of data and the range of variables supported for the data type, etc. So Python offers the following built-in code data types: 1. Number, 2. String, 3. List, 4. Tuple, and dictionary. Number. As it is clear by the name, the number data types are used to store the numeric values in Python. The numbers in Python have the following code data types: integer, signed or boolean, floating point number, and complex number. So now we will discuss all of these different types of number data types with the help of program. So first we are going to use a one program without a data type. For example, if we write x equal to 10, y is equal to parallel, z equal to x plus 1. So here in this program we add the value of x and y, and then we assign the result to a variable z. So with the help of print function, we will display the result like sum is equal to So if we run this program, so first save this program and run this program to check the output. So here we have sum is 22. So in this program, the Python will take or assume, depending upon these values, define the data type for x and y, and the z data type is defined based on the value x and y. So here we give the integer value, so we get the result as a integer. Let's suppose if we assign any float number to all these two variables, then save this program and check the result. So if we give a variable as a float value or a number with a fraction, a decimal number. So it will convert the data type of x and y according to these data types, like number with fraction. And also the z is also changed to the data type as a number with fraction. If we give the mixed value like x as a number with fraction and y as an integer number, and here we produce the sum of x and y and then we get the result. So save this program and run it to see the output. So if here one is number with fraction and one is just an integer number, but our output is according to the number with number with fraction. So it's a better to define the data type if you want to produce the result as you require. So let's learn about the number data type. So in a number we have three types of different data types. One is integer. In integer we have integer and boolean data type, floating point number, and third complex number. So now just write a program for integer. So here we have a program x equal to int to define the data type for x as an integer. Then we use the input function to get the value from user. Similarly, we define a second variable y with the data type as an integer, and here we use the input variable to get the value from the user. In third line, we have used the print function to display the number 1. In fourth line, we use the print function to display the number 2. And in fifth line, here we have a z variable. Its data type is converted to integer and the value added for x and y. If you skip this one, then it automatically use the z data type as an integer, because both the variables are using integer value. In sixth line, here we have used the print function, and this use the string sum and the variable z to display the resultant value of z. So now run this program. So it's asking us to enter the first number, for example 12. Press enter. It will display the message to enter a number 2. So just enter a second number as an integer. Press enter. So here we have sum 25. Number 1 is as a 12, number 2 is as a 13, and sum is 25. So in this way you can define a data type as an integer and work with the integer values. Next is floating point number. A floating point number having a fractional part is the floating point number. For example, the value of pi 3.1459. So is a floating number. A decimal point signal that it is a floating point number, not a integer number. So we will make a program to discuss about the floating point number. So here in this program we define the x variable as the data type float, and same we use the input function to enter a float value from the user. Second, we define the y variable as their data type as a float and input function to get the value from the user. So here we use the print function x to print the number x, means number 1, to print the number 2 as a y, and then we use the same z variable to get the addition or to perform the addition on x and y. So here x is as a float, y is as a float, so z variables also the value to float. And then we use the print function to display the result. Now run this program. So here we have number 1 like 12.3. Press enter. Enter the number 2, for example 13.6. Press enter. So here we have number 1 as a 12.3, number 2 as a 13.6, and we got the result sum 25.9. So in this way you can perform addition, subtraction, multiplication on a floating number, a number with a decimal point. So now just run this program again. So here we have a number 1. So we just enter an integer number 12. Press enter. It demands for the second number. So we enter the second number as 14.8. That is a float number. As we press the enter, so you can see here the integer number is changed to the float number. So here we have a number 1 as a 12.0, number 2 as a 14.8, and we got the sum as 26.8. So in this way you can perform, or you can convert the data from integer to float and float to integer. Next we have a data type as a boolean. So boolean having the value true and false. The boolean data type is a subtype of a plain integer, and the boolean values false and true behave like the value 0 and 1. So let's design a program to understand the concept of boolean integer. So here x we define as a bool and assign a value 0. So y as a boolean data type and we assign the value 1. Then we use a print function x and print function y to print the value of x, to print the value of y. So now run this program to see the result. So here we have x as a bool 0 means false, y as a bool 1 means true. So we can use the boolean integer when we have to perform a statement, like we have to execute a program based on some condition. So basically we use the boolean data type at that time. Or when we have any query having only two results, either yes or either no. So we use the boolean data type in those conditions or in those statements. Next, we have a complex number in a Python. So the third data type for a number, it is complex number. So Python represents the complex number in the form of a plus b j, that is to represent the imaginary number. So Python use j at the place of traditional I. So we are using the I for Python to represent the imaginary number, but in a Python we use j to represent the imaginary number. So here we have one number c is equal to 0 plus 4.5j. So 0 is a real number and 4.5j is our imaginary number. So if we print the c, then we will get the result as a complex number. Second example is d 1.1 plus 3.6j. So we print here the value of d. So now run this program to see the output. So here we have 4.5j, it is the value of C. Okay. In a second number, we have 1.1 plus 3.6j, so the output we got in this way, 1.1 plus 3.6j. If we have to use only a real part of a number or only the imaginary part of a number, then we can use it as print d point real to print the real part of a number, d point imaginary to print the imaginary number of the d. So here we have a real number of a d is 1.1 and the imaginary number of d is 3.6. So you can also use this function to print the real number or imaginary number of a complex number. So this is all about the number data type. Now we are going to learn about string data type. Next is string. You already know about the string in a Python. So in this section we will talk about the strings, how to use a strings as a data type in Python. A string data types lets you hold a string data is that any number of valid characters into a set of quotation marks. In a Python 3.x, each character stored in a string is a Unicode character, or in the other word, all the strings in Python 3.x are a sequence of pure Unicode characters. The Unicode is a system designed to represent the every character from every language. A string can hold any types of non-character is that letter, number and special character of any non-script language. So let's write a program to take input as a string and work with the string. So here we have one program in which we are using a variable as name to store a string, the name of a student as a argument. So we have to use the double quote or a single quote to represent a string. Second, we have a variable like last name is equal to brought in single quote. So you can represent the string either in a single or either in a double quote. So next we have a print function to display the result by using print function student name, then we have a space and then we have a last name of the student. So let's run this program to see the output. Select the program string and here we have a argument brought. So in this program, first we have a student name as a argument, then we use the plus operator to concat these two strings, and here we use these double quotes to represent the space between these two variable values. Like first variable student name as a argument, then we have a space, then we have a last name. So in this way you can use a string variable in your program. Next we have written 2-line code to get the input as a string from the user and print it. Let's rerun this program again. So first it displays the name, student name plus last name, and then ask for the value to be entered as a string by the user. Enter your favorite food. So we add here like a favorite food, pizza. As we enter, so in the next line we have a print function and the value stored in a food that is entered by the user as a string is displayed. So this is all about strings. Next data type is list and tuples. The list and tuples are Python compound data types. We have taken them together in one section because they are basically the same types with the different. List can be changed, modified, but the tuple can't be changed or modified. So let's talk about these two Python types one by one. So one, list. A list in a Python represents a list of comma separated value of any data type between the square brackets. So here we have a x as the name of list, and these are the different values that is separated by the comma and enclosed by the square brackets. To represent it is a list. Here we use the print function to print the x. Now run this program to understand the sequence of execution of this program. So here first we print a list. This print function print the list. So here we have a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 5 and 6. Then we use a print function to print the first position value. So that is used by x0. So the value in a list always start from 0, not from 1. So the first index value is 0, second index value is 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So at the first 0 index value we have a value 1. At the index 1 we have a value 2. At the index 2 we have a value of list 3. At the index value 3 we have a value 4. Similarly at the 5 we have a value 8. So you can represent it first position. At the first position we have a value of x, that is 1. At the position of 5, but the element we have x4, so that is value 8. Similarly you can use some mathematic function like minimum maximum to get the minimum value of list x. Okay, so the minimum value of in this list is 1. It will compare all the values and get the minimum value from this set of values. So the minimum value in list x we have 1. Similarly we use a max function to calculate the maximum value of a list x. So here we have maximum value 10. So similarly you can also use in a list, we can modify the value. For example, first we print the value of 4 is 4. Then we change the value to 14, and you can also see in a result at the position after changing the value we have 14. So in a list we can modify or change the value after the declaration of list. Next type is tuple. So in this program, tuple is a similar as that of a list, but we are not able to change or modify any value in this tuple. So in a tuple we have to use a name of tuple is x and the value assigned in the round brackets, and all the values are represented with the help of comma. So rest of the things are same, only the brackets are changed. In a list we are using the square bracket, but when we have to declare any value or any variable as a tuple, so we use here the round brackets. So here we have used the print function to print the value of x tuple. Run this program to see the output So here we have x tuple, then we print the value of 1, position 1, so that is the value 1. Similarly we get the value of position 5, that is 8, and then we similarly get the minimum function and maximum function to get the value or to find the minimum value of x tuple and to find the maximum value of x tuple. So here we use 1 and 10. Similarly, next we have used the print function to print the position of 4. So position of 4 is 4. Then we use x equal to 14. But when we apply this condition, so you can get this message. So the error type tuple object does not support the item assignment. So you are not able to change the value in tuple, but you can change the value in list. So these are the different data types: list and tuple. Next we have dictionaries. Dictionary data type is another feature in a Python. So the dictionary is an unordered set of comma separated keys and value pair within these curly brackets. So with the requirement that within a dictionary no two keys can be used at the same. So there is a unique keys are assigned to a different values. So similarly you can check here, we have a list name. So we have a dictionary name as a wall. So the first is A and the value is 1. Second we have E and the value is 2, and so on. And we use the print function to print the value of dictionary vowel. Similarly, if you want to print a specific value, then you can use their key to print that value related to or the paired value with that key. So now run this program to discuss the output of this function. So here first we print the dictionary, then we print the value of A, that is 1. Similarly you can use another way, you can use the numbers and assign the values related to that. So for example, here we have a computer. So here we have a print function to print this dictionary computer, and then I is equal to integer input, enter a number. So as the person enter any number from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so the related to that key we have entered, so it will print the value. For example, we just enter the 3, and when we press enter, so we get the value of 3, that is monitor. So similarly when you have to ask any multiple questions from the person, so you can use this dictionary. It is very helpful for that. So in this chapter we have discussed about the different data types: number having the 3 subtypes, integer, boolean, floating point, and complex number. Then we have discussed about the sequences data type, that is string, tuple, and list. And then the last one we have discussed the mapping data type, that is dictionary. Okay students, so this is all about the different data types. So keep watching. Thank you. Have a nice day.